Hey guys, this is Ryan Hunter. I'm Ryan from Foil Drive here. Today we're talking about the carbon integrated mast that a lot of the brands are coming out with. They now are available or coming with the new high power motor, so you get a lot more thrust out of it. It can help with the longevity of your battery life. So yeah, we've been testing these out. We been on them here at KOGL this weekend quite a bit, a couple days before. I don't know if you've had much experience on them this whole summer or if it's just been recent.
Yeah.
Well, Hunter and I, it's just been recent. Kind of tell me what are you guys' thoughts on them? What do you like?
So yeah, the integrated mast is nothing new, but the carbon integrated mast is really new. So before, on the older integrated mast, you'd basically just have the pod built into it, and the wires would run inside the hollow aluminum mast. But now this mast has completely been molded and made in the factory for foil drive and doesn't have that same pod system. So with this half mount pod, it is like noticeably less drag. This is probably the biggest upgrade you could ever make to your foil drive system. Literally every single person that's ridden this has been like, oh my gosh, I don't feel the pod touching the water.
That's exactly what I said when I first rode it. You know, it was smaller bumps the other day when I first got on it, but you would be ripping turns and you'd dip a little bit, and I actually couldn't really even tell that I dipped. Where on my normal setup, I kind of notice it, I can hear it, I can feel that drag a little bit more, but this, I can turn it and I'm still turning and the pod's in the water, and I didn't even know that the pod was really in the water, and then I was able to just keep it going, pop it back up so I was high on foil again and keep going. So yeah, I was stoked on it.
I've spent some time on them doing some flat water pumping, and I was surprised because typically you get down to pod level and maybe if you dip it once you can recover it and pump out of there, but you put that whole pod under the water and typically it takes you out if you're flat water pumping. However, with the integrated mast, you can just pump right back up.
Yeah,
bring your foil right back up to the top of the water.
You can save it so easily.
So pretty incredible the amount of drag that it reduces, I felt like. So it's I mean, who is this product for? Like, who would be looking at getting a carbon integrated mast versus an aluminum integrated mast versus just taking their foil kit they've got already and adding the standard unit?
Yeah, so this is pretty much good for anyone that enjoys foil driving. So if you're riding waves, if you're pumping, if you're downwinding, pretty much anything where you want to minimize that feeling of drag and have the purest foiling feeling, this is what's for you. If you can afford it, it is literally the best thing you could do for your foil drive and for your kit. Already, when you have a foil drive, you want to have a designated mast so that you don't have to take the pod off on like your other system and tape the wire and all that stuff. So leaving this together is so convenient because I could literally have this whenever the conditions aren't bad or good or whatever, and literally 4 screws to put it on your board, just put whatever foil you normally ride. And one of the coolest things about this is most of the brands have opted to mount it at 18 from the board, 18 centimeters from the board, which is generally a little lower than what most people like that are kind of performance riding like at like 15. And this is super good because when you're doing upwind downwinders or motoring back out to the lineup or just riding around, you have way more room to motor. And then there's also no like drag or tracking from like the wire being there. And it's like that sensation of motoring through the water is so buttery and so smooth with this kind of carbon system, and just it helps the water wrap around it. It's seriously like the ultimate feeling of any kind of foil drive or any assist or e-foiling I've ever even ridden. There's also a couple options too with the motor down here, but we'll talk about that after you have your comments.
Yeah, yeah. One thing, all I was gonna say.
Were you gonna say something about pod distance?
Oh yeah, pod distance.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So all I was gonna say is the pod distance being 18. The other thing that does is it allows for, if people are riding a trench board, to pop it in their trench board and then they're at that 15 level.
Yeah.
So you're not, if you're at 15 and then you pop it in trench board, then you're getting really short for a lot of applications. So it really has a lot of application there, both to trench boards and out, and just having more usability at that length, I think. Yeah. So. Yeah, we were talking about how they've got so much less drag compared to the typical pod that goes on there, and we were talking the other day how it's such a difference in drag that you could even potentially mount one lower on a carbon unit like this in an e-foil position and actually surf with it.
Yeah.
Which is something that hasn't really been able to be done too well before because there's a lot of drag coming off the unit. So a lot of cool potential there. Cool to see what the brands end up doing. And I know we've just got AK here and North over there, but a lot of brands are coming on board with this new carbon integrated.
Yeah. So Hunter's got a pod here.
Yeah, I stepped away just to show the difference, but this will go on and it's in the front, right? So this pod is now inside the mast, kind of offset, so it's not at that leading edge. So super cool little comparison there.
So yeah, so basically if you were to just buy a foil drive kit, your kit comes with pretty much this retrofit pod system where it's a universal mount that can go on any mast that you really have and ride. And this is a really streamlined kind of system. The bullet is like the most efficient thing shaped through the water. But when you put it on your mast, for example, and even like the aluminum integrated mast has this kind of system with the wire running inside the mast, but this and kind of penetrates the water first and then wraps around. And so anything that deflects water creates drag and kind of slows things down. So having this kind of half pod mounted into the mast itself allows the water to just wrap around it so much smoother with, you know, this thinner leading edge of the mast, just kind of separating it and just helping it all reconnect. Even at the top here, it's just so streamlined and so thin that you literally cannot feel when you touch down or when the pod is going through the water. It's actually like every single person that's tried this and tested this, like, cannot believe it.
Can confirm.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for watching. This has been Ryan and Hunter with Matt Kite. Ryan from Foil Drive here, just talking about the new high power carbon integrated mast and our experience on them. We've really been loving them here. If you got any questions or comments, give us a ring in at the shop. Hope to see you guys on the water.